Hey everyone, Arnold here, santamuertemagic.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. The topic of today's video is going to be petitioning the Santa Muerte for health and wellness. First, I'll say that magic is a tool, not a cure. It should be considered complementary to modern medicine. It should not be considered a replacement for it. The second thing I'll say is that there is some controversy over whether or not magic should be employed for health conditions. The argument is that it may create a false sense of hope in the people it's intended to help. This is something I disagree with, only because I think that whether or not someone chooses to abandon hope or hold on to it is up to them. It's a completely personal choice whether or not you choose to hold on to hope, and if you choose to, you should have the choice as to how you pursue that hope. And for some people, the pursuit of hope comes through magic. With that aside, in the tradition of Santa Muerte magic, the color that is associated with health and healing, or with health and wellness, is the color yellow. The Santa Muerte depicted in the yellow cloak is considered a patron of healers and those who they hope to heal. Basically all members of the medical community, from doctors and nurses down to hospital support staff and the patients in the hospital beds. This applies to physical health care and mental health care, and also applies to the world of addiction. So people who suffer from addiction and those who help people suffering from addiction. Interestingly enough, addiction is granted its own color within Santa Muerte, within the tradition of Santa Muerte. It's a derivative of yellow, and that color is amber. There are several ways to petition the Santa Muerte for health and wellness. One way is to incorporate color into your petition. This can be done by perhaps praying to a depiction of Santa Muerte in yellow. You could also burn a yellow offering candle on your altar, perhaps even etching the name of the person who you want to help into the candle. You could create a health and wellness puppet, a quote-unquote voodoo doll, out of yellow fabric, and then also use yellow needles or yellow-tipped needles to direct healing energy into specific parts of the body of the puppet. You can also convey your intent for health and wellness by incorporating herbs and oils into your petition. So oils can be used to anoint things like images of the Santa Muerte, to anoint offering candles, to anoint puppets. You can use herbs. You can sprinkle herbs around the base of an offering candle. You can stuff the body of a puppet with specific herbs associated with a condition or a part of the body. Again, these are just all ways to clarify and convey your intent in your petition. On the topic of herbs and oils, one question which I have been asked a lot is, where do I get the information for the correspondences which I share on my website and in my writings? If you've read my second book, Santa Muerte Devotion 101, you'll know there's a list of herb correspondences towards the back of the book, and people have asked me where that information comes from. And I will tell you, I get that information from a few different sources, and basically I share them here so that you can apply these tactics to either develop your own correspondences, and also just if you want to research an herb, which I haven't covered yet, perhaps a way to come up with your own correspondence based on these ideas. So the first place that a correspondence will come from is through tradition and myth, legends that have basically stood the test of time. So basil is a popular herb in Mexico. It is associated with purification and cleansing. If you are familiar with the egg cleansing ritual, that's the ritual where an egg is held over the body in order to draw out negative energy. There is a version of that ritual that replaces the egg with a bundle of basil. Sometimes the basil is wet with something like holy water, if the person is Catholic, or something like Florida water for a devotee of Santa Muerte. So tradition is one place. The next place is appearance of the herb itself. So if you look through my writings, you'll see that I associate almond oil with matters of the mind, matters of thought, conditions of the head and the brain. And this is because if you look at an almond, it appears like a crude depiction of a human brain. It's kind of rounded, oblong, it's got these grooves in it. The brain is covered in grooves. So that's where that association comes from. Grapes, if you look at a bundle of grapes on a vine, they appear like alveoli in the lungs, air sacs, and so that is why grapes and grape seed oil, grape leaves, these are associated with conditions of the lungs and the respiratory system. Another place where I get correspondences from is actually modern medicine and medical research. So there's a website called pubmed.gov, P as in Papa, U, B as in Bravo, med.gov. And this is basically a repository for peer-reviewed research. Most of it is free. Sometimes you'll hit a paywall. Most of it is in English. Sometimes you'll hit studies that are published in other languages. A lot of the work comes from colleges and universities. Some of the work is published by governments themselves. Sometimes private businesses will publish the work. But it's basically just a good starting point for peer-reviewed research. There's a search box on the website. You can just type in the common name of an herb or the scientific name, the Latin binomial, and just see what pops up. Some herbs that I have developed correspondences for using modern medical research. One of them is black pepper. Studies have been conducted on black pepper for its ability to reduce cravings in cigarette smokers. Those studies found that there is an effect. It is able to reduce cravings in many people. And so for that reason, I associate black pepper with breaking of bad habits, breaking addictions. Another herb which I found on that site is cloves, clove bud oil. Specifically has been studied for its ability to act as an analgesic or a pain reliever. Specifically, it's been studied a lot in the field of dentistry. And so I associate that with clove with physical pain in general, but also because of its association with dentistry, with matters of the teeth, the gums, the mouth, oral health. And so those are basically the top three places that I have used to develop my own correspondences, the correspondences that I share on my website and in my other writings. The next topic I'd like to cover in this video is what you can target by petitioning for health and wellness. So you can target health and wellness in general. You can also target a specific condition, but those aren't the only two options. There are times when you may not want to, or you may not be able to target a condition specifically. There are other cases where you may be able to target symptoms of a condition. So for example, if a person is receiving treatment that perhaps has a bad effect on their appetite, you might petition instead of for an absolute cure. You might petition instead for an increase in appetite so that the person is able to better accept food. Perhaps a person is not able to sleep and that's having an effect on their physical or mental health. You might petition then for a person to be able to rest better. I would recommend lavender for that. You can also, instead of petitioning directly, as we know, this is no secret, we will all one day die. And eventually we'll get to a point where there is no more hope for a cure. Towards the end of my own father's life, we got to that point. He was so bad off that there was no hope for him getting better. When someone gets to this point, perhaps the only thing you can petition for is for comfort in the process of crossing over. Just because you can't cure the problem doesn't mean you can't help a person find some form of comfort. So that's about all I have to share today in this video. I hope I have given you all some useful information. I hope I've explained everything clearly. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. There is the contact form on my website. There is the Patreon messenger system, and now there's the Discord chat server. Thank you so much for all of you who have participated in the chat server. That was just a way for me to basically break down the barrier or expand the ability of all of you to communicate with each other instead of just communicating with me all the time. I thought it'd be a good way to kind of build a sense of community among all of you out there who have supported me for so long. So thank you so much for watching the video. Please take care of yourselves, please stay healthy, be safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.